The Leafs get a deal done with RFA Nick Robertson, and where does Toronto rank among their Atlantic Division foes? Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan. And guys, in the end, Nick Robertson and the Maple Leafs come to an agreement on a one-year deal worth $875,000. Lance, it was pegged as a stalemate of sorts, but ultimately a deal does get done. Is this the way you always thought it would play out? And what do you think about Robertson's role heading into the season?
Well, first of all, welcome back to my colleagues and everybody out there. It's been a great summer, and looking forward to a lot of great Leaf coverage here. Robertson, a great way, I guess, to start their unofficial start to training camp. You know what? Here's a guy who's missed a lot of time for injuries. He's really a year behind in development when you at least a year when you take those injuries into account. So for him to try and play a little hardball and say, maybe I'm looking for greener pastures, maybe I want to go to the West, be closer to my family, that kind of thing. I don't really think he has enough leverage for that. So I think it's a good on him to sign this deal, to come back and see the opportunity that's there on left wing. It's not as though it's as stacked as last year. It's a new coach in there, a new beginning, and maybe he takes this. It's not a great financial deal for him, but here's a good chance to recalibrate. And he's only not even 23 until tomorrow. I think there's a lot of upside ahead for this young guy, especially if he can make an impression in camp.
Yeah, there's an open lane for him here. There's no doubt. Even with the idea that Leafs still might add Max Pacioretty, Nick Robertson has got an excellent opportunity here. Brad Treliving said it earlier in the summer, and I'm sure that's the same thing that Craig Berube has been saying to him during the summer. And I'm a little. It's a little puzzling still for me that he went down the request route. Especially knowing that a new coach was coming in. I mean, if you're looking for a change of scenery, if you don't get that, and he doesn't now, a new coach is the next best thing. And Robertson had no leverage here. Let's be honest. I mean, he had none. The Leafs were under no pressure to sign him, to trade him, even with the holes that they have on the left side. And none of that is a worry now. The stalemate's over. He can come into camp next week with a clear head, get a good start, I would think, under Craig Berube and go from there. So that opportunity is there. The Leafs need offense from the left side. The other thing with Robertson too is where he slots in eventually is kind of on him because Matthew Nyes, top six, top three, okay, but Bobby McMahon coming off an injury on the left side has something to prove as well, and the things he was doing last season weren't just a one-off. So some competition in that regard, but it's only good for the Leafs and Nick Robertson now once they hit the ice next Thursday.
Absolutely a great opportunity for Robertson there, Lance.
Oh, I was just going to add that he's got last year proving he could stay healthy over the course of a full season is a big thing in his favor.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Terry, you recently wrote about the Atlantic Division and where the Maple Leafs stack up against the rest of their rivals. As currently constructed, how do you have it ranked?
Well, it depends. I mean, I still think the Leafs are going to be a top three team, no doubt. And I guess for me the big thing is whether Joe Wall can stay healthy because Anthony Stolarz I think is a nice signing as a backup, but he hasn't played a ton in any of his National Hockey League seasons, so we don't know if he can be that guy. So Wall's health would be key, but they can take a run at first place here, and it's not taking anything away from the other teams. I mean, I still think that when the Florida Panthers have lost some people on the blue line, but Borowski, found his game last year again, and anytime you have Stanley Cup rings in that dressing room like you do now, and you keep the majority of forwards, you'd have to think they're probably the favorite to win the division going in. But we'll see. Tampa loses their franchise face, and I just still can't wrap my head around the fact he's going to be wearing the colors of the Nashville Predators this year and not of the Tampa Bay Lightning, let alone any other team. So Tampa has to overcome that. Hope that Andrei Vasilevsky is healthy in goal. And the Boston Bruins, Brad Marchand starting the season, perhaps maybe a bit of delay there with his surgeries, but I like the signings they made in Lindholm and Sidorov. But you don't ever count the Bruins out. I know they have to get Swayman under contract, but I still think it's going to be those four teams, and how they wind up remains to be seen. Detroit Red Wings, of course, knocked on the door last year, guys. They had the same points as Washington, didn't get in to the playoffs because the Caps had more regulation wins. So, and in Buffalo and Ottawa, they keep telling us that this is going to be the year that finally happens, and it hasn't yet. So I think you got to wait to see what happens there. Linus Ullmark could be impactful in Ottawa, but Montreal is still a bit away. I still think there's an argument to be made for, like I said, for those top 4 teams to finish the top 4 again in some regard.
Well, you know what? Everyone talks about the curse of finishing first or the President's Trophy. Wouldn't it be nice if the Leafs actually did that and risked the curse? I mean, that would be for this is like the whatever we're talking about now, the third or fourth year where people are just putting the regular season aside, and wake me when the playoffs are here. They have a chance at first overall. Why not take it? Why not nail? It's easier said than done, of course, but why not have that mindset that don't worry about blowing everything, trying to finish first. Do it and see what happens. Give yourself a goal, and I think that's quite attainable. For the rest of the division, I'm sort of with Terry. You have certainly you have even with the losses, Tampa Bay and Florida. You got to stick with them because of their pedigree, because of their coaching. And Boston, you can never count them out, even though they have some goaltending challenges right now. But to Terry's point, those teams below Toronto, when is it going to be show me time for these guys? We always hear this is the year they're coming on. Ottawa, Montreal, they have the prospects, they have this, they have that, they have new attitudes, et cetera, and yet you still get the same mushy middle approach as the season goes on. Injuries, of course, can come up and factor in all those, but I think the Maple Leafs are more than capable of treading water, finishing in at least the top 4, if not aiming for something higher.
Yeah, it turns out this division is one of the toughest in the NHL, as we see year in and year out. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Terry Koshan and Lance Hornby, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.